So what the heck is this thing, and can it really increase your AC's airflow by an average of 40%? We're going to find out with this thing. I first saw this product on Facebook a few months ago and it looked really interesting. And then recently I was in Elkhart, Indiana doing some training at Grand Design, and our trainer showed us one and demoed it a bit, and I was intrigued.
Yeah, it looked so cool that we reached out directly to the company to see if they would be interested in partnering with us and letting us try it on our own ACs.
So they did send us some evaluation units. Thank you very much for that. And we put them to the test.
What we're talking about is a product called RV AirFlow.
Right, and per usual, we're under no obligation to give them a positive review. We're just giving it to try it out and see if we like it.
But for this video, you don't have to just take our word for it. We're going to prove it to you with numbers.
That's right. We have numbers on a spreadsheet with some actual performance improvements, and they're pretty exciting numbers. We're not going to go into the step-by-step install because, quite honestly, it's not that difficult.
Yeah, and they actually already did an install video, so we're off the hook for that. We will put a link for their install video, though, in the description below and in the blog post.
Right, as well as the written instructions that you'll get with the unit. Our focus is going to be on the actual numbers and how it improves it, but we are going to talk about some tips on the installation too, so we'll get to that. Before we jump into the product and how it actually works, I want to talk a little bit about the stock AC system, how it works, and how this product improves that airflow. So we're going to go up into the front of the RV where we're actually close to an AC. If you watched our AC maintenance video we did last year, you know that RV or any AC performance is largely based around airflow. In that video, we talked about how to improve airflow on the top in the unit itself, as well as what kind of maintenance to perform up there. So if you haven't seen that video, be sure to go check that out. Today, we're going to be talking about everything below that in the airflow system inside the RV. Your AC system, because it's so compact, is divided into two halves. The high side, where the AC actually comes out, and the low side, low pressure side, that sucks air in. All of that happens right here inside this box called a plenum. In your stock system, the high side and low side are divided by a divider that goes right across here, and then a splash plate that goes on the bottom. Let's talk a little bit about the inefficiencies inherent with the low side. If you've looked at your cover plate and filters, I just put these back in for effect, you've got these giant areas here for filters, right? But the way the stock system is designed, when it's all put together with that divider in the middle, you're cutting this right about here, and you're only using about a third of each of those big filter areas. Speaking of filters, if you've taken as much as a slight look at your stock filters, you know they're not MERV rated or really that efficient. We use these filters. They're not washable, unfortunately, but they're MERV 6 rated, which isn't super high, but it's better than stock. And these are RV Air. They're not related to RV AirFlow at all, but we will have links for these down below if you're wondering what kind of filters that we use. Let's talk a little bit about the high side. The high side starts right here with this hole. If you look up here, you can see the fan, and all of the air that comes out of your AC, be it conditioned warm or cold, depending on how you're using it, comes out of this hole. It comes into the plenum, and then either goes into the ducts, which we'll get to, or it can go to your dumps. Your dumps are these little things right here. A couple of problems with using these dumps. First of all, you'll see that it's got to go down this narrow channel right here to get to these dumps. It's not a super wide channel, and that by itself is inefficient. Additionally, these dumps are right next to the intake, so a lot of the air that gets pushed out of these dumps goes right back in and short circuits it, wasting that energy. It's much more efficient if you can find a way to get your conditioned air into your ducts and out to your RV better. And that's what RV AirFlow does. A little note on that, because it's making best use of getting it to your ducts, it completely disables these dumps, and you'll see that once we get this thing put in and I show it to you. Let's talk a little bit about those ducts and how they work with this stock system. When you have the stock setup, you've got a divider in here, and this entire box right here just gets pressurized and then goes out the ducts. So the system itself has a lot of opportunities for leaks. Number one, this whole section here is pressurized, and you can see these little vents here aren't super sealed. Air is going to leak out of those and go right back into your system. Additionally, any deficiencies you have up in here that we talked a little bit about in our AC maintenance video, leaks can happen into your attic. They can go short circuit back over to the other side. If you're like us and your separator kind of fell over a little bit, that because of that pressure in this box, it just pushed that thing over.
Oh yeah, wait, I want to say, we did our last AC maintenance a year ago, and our point that you need to check it annually was proven when you opened it up in the living room, the main AC. And what was the thing?
The divider.
The divider was pushed over, and there were other things that you needed to fix.
Yeah.
And that was with a year of traveling. I think stuff just gets jostled around. So we were losing a lot of...
a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're going to see that in our numbers. You're going to notice when we get to it that we actually tested twice because of that. The high side just pressurizes this box and tries to force air into the ducts. It's a very leaky system potentially. It's not the most efficient as far as getting the air from that narrow channel to the ducts. It's just a box and it's very turbulent and messy and not super efficient. And again, that's where RV airflow comes in. We've talked a lot about it. Let's show it to you. Let's talk about what this RV airflow system does.
Here, you can watch from your silk pillow. So RV airflow. What the heck does it look like, right?
What is this magical thing?
This magical box right here. And this thing is cool because it was invented by RVers for RVers. And Richard invented this, right? And he did it because his wife was uncomfortable.
Yeah. He's got like 30 years or something like that in engineering and a little bit of that in HVAC. And he invented this for her.
Because, you know...
Happy wife, happy life.
Although it may look like just a plain old foam box,
it's
not.
It's actually 3-pound expanded polythyrene or something like that, EPS. It's really, really high density, so it's not gonna flake. It's not like the packaging you get wrapping your monitor in an Amazon box.
You can really tell the difference when you feel it in person.
And just so you know, this device has been tested and approved by Coleman to not void your warranty. It will not void your warranty.
That's right. And it also has a lifetime guarantee, which is awesome. So keep watching till the end because we have a discount code for 10% off, and it'll also be in the description.
Right. So once you get this thing out and look at it, it becomes kind of obvious how this thing works. This replaces your splash plate and separator and does it all in one. But it does it with super high efficiency. This little seal here is designed to go right up against that AC output, right against your high side. So your fan is right here, and then it blows the air right down this hole. The conditioned air is split and sent off to vents on both sides, to your ducts. And it does that through these inserts. These are designed to go inside your ducts and then be sealed on the side and be pressed right up against here, so that there's no break, there's no gap in airflow from your high side right into your ducting system. Additionally, the low side, boom, you'll notice that this has a nice curve to it. If you remember when we were talking about the stock system, just a third of that filter area was your intake. This expands that area because your low side is going to sit right here. Your low side is going to sit right here. And then this curve here opens up that entire bottom of your AC for intake. So this greatly improves both the high and low side all at once.
Not all RV ACs are the same, right?
A lot of RVs use the same AC unit, so they can cover a lot of RVs. If you're not sure, go online, we'll put a link below. They do have a list of compatible RVs that they've tested and compatible AC systems. They also have a whole section on how to measure your plenum to see if one of these will work for you.
Oh.
So you can make sure that it's going to fit and everything before you actually get it in there. This thing is really not difficult at all to install. I do, however, have some tips that I found with our AC systems doing our 3, and after I show you that, we'll get to our numbers.
But before we do that, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a thing. And you can find us on Instagram and Facebook and changinglanesrv.com, where you can find blog posts and other content that you're not going to find on YouTube.
Right. And also, you can subscribe on our website. If you're not a YouTube subscriber kind of person, go there and subscribe.
Yeah.
Like we mentioned before, we will link an installation video below as well as a will this fit my RV checklist and measurements, so be sure to check those out. Pretty simple installation. You remove the filters, you remove the cover, you remove the splash plate that's underneath that along with the divider, And you're left with this box, which is your plenum. The first step is to just kind of clean it up in here, get rid of any loose tape, any stuff not looking good in here. Basically, you just want to clean this up. Don't worry too much about like taping off the edges and things. Just get any old tape out of there. You'll also want to neaten up the duct area. If you're like ours or a lot of RVs, you might find there's actually tape covering part of the ducts. So clean that up, because these duct inserts are going to go right inside there. You also want to check the centering of your AC. It should be pretty close, or else your lag bolts wouldn't have fit in there to begin with. But the idea here with this thing is, you'll notice this is right up against the edge, and you kind of want it to look that way in here. And if you think about how this is going to line up in here, you just want to make sure that your high side, your exhaust port here, isn't so far back that half of it's over your roof or that it's too far forward. You want to think about how this is going to line up right here and have that high side be right on the edge there. Additionally, if you look at where your lag bolt holes are, you're going to notice those lag bolts are going to be going through these holes. So they're about, you know, a half to 1 inch from the corners. And the thing is, since you've taken this bottom plate and lag bolt off, if you need to recenter or move your AC a little bit, you can just lift right up on it and push it around a little bit. I had to move our center AC forward about 1/4 of an inch, and it fit perfectly. The next thing you're going to want to check, along with making sure that the ducts are clean of any tape so that the inserts can go in, is how they're positioned inside the plenum. You'll notice that these inserts are flat on one side, and that flat side is designed to go against that back side of that plenum. You want to just make sure that you have access to the full length of each duct. That way this can fit in there.
Wasn't one of ours like not quite?
Yeah, all of ours were good except for one side of our middle AC. Our middle AC had one of the ducts that was just a little bit too far forward, so part of the duct was behind the plenum, or just outside the plenum. Our ducts are a little bit that way. It kind of goes in here, so hopefully that duct insert will fit in there. On this side, it's a little bit better. I can't move the duct, so all I could really do was adapt one of these by cutting off these little edges here so that I could tuck it in there and pop it in. But you want to get all that work done up front and know that your duct inserts actually insert. I found it simplest to reach right through here and just push on the ducting a little bit to get it to stick inside. Once you've got those lined up, you can take off the adhesive backing and put them in there. You will notice that because of the foam here, it does stick out from the side of the plenum a little bit, and that's by design. You want it to have a little bit of pressure pushing up against these holes here to make a good seal to get that good airflow. I'm going to put this back in so we can show you the main dealio. You want to feel around inside all 4 sides of this and make sure that the duct insert is actually inserted. From there, it's just a matter of putting in the RV airflow system. You'll kind of want to do one side at a time. Maybe you have to reach up in here and push the vent things aside. And it should kind of go up in there just like that with those 2 things pushing against it. And then probably the most difficult part of this, which isn't that difficult, is getting these lag bolts to line up. What I did was I would get the thing lined up like this ahead of time. You may have to rock it back and forth. You may need to get a flashlight and kind of shine it up in there to make sure your holes are aligned. And then once you do that, you'll pull them back out and basically put your bottom mount plate through those holes, and this part should be pushing right up against the airflow system. Okay, that lines up perfect. I know that hole's good. That lines up good. Feed that in. I'm going to feed in this other side just to hold it. You'll definitely want something like this because these lag bolts are a ton of turns. You'll see here what I mean. Imagine doing that by hand. You want to get these things torqued to about 40 to 50 inch-pounds. I used our little impact driver here and I didn't really crank on it because I wasn't sure how much that was, But I was quite surprised when I went back to retighten with the torque wrench. They still needed quite a bit of turn, so it needs to be snugged down quite a bit. If you saw our tools video, you know that I like having the right tool for the right job. This is no different. While you could kind of guesstimate it and crank it down, you'll probably want to get an actual torque wrench capable of measurements in that 50 inch-pound range. Always zero out your torque wrenches when you store them, or whatever the manufacturer recommends. Some of them have a poundage. I'm going to set this just above 45, right around 47 pounds. We'll have a link for this down below also. You can see it's still taking quite a few more turns to actually get to the break point for the torque than what I got on my impact driver. I could have cranked it down more, but I'd rather get the last few pounds with a tool. And you want to do a kind of a diamond pattern, because after you torque one down, the other one might lose torque. So you want to keep going around until they all click. You can hear it pushing up on that foam. Nice. So we got that. Now I'll go back here, and you notice it's taking quite a few more turns now that I've torqued the other sides. Torqued. So that's the main install. You don't put the splash plate back on, you don't put the divider back in. Just save those for later in case you want to take your RV air to your new RV. But this goes back on, just like it was before. And while I've got this on here, you can kind of see what I mean. Before, the intake was just right here, and now it's been expanded out to this entire system. So another quick tip along the note of this entire bottom now being your low side, do not leave these vents open, because now that's just an unfiltered entry into your system. Put your filters and stuff back in. And that's it. So let's talk about our results, because you know they claim a 40% on average increase in performance. Now, my original plan, I took our anemometer here, which measures wind speed and throughput, and I built this little adapter for it so that it fits snugly up into our vents. That way we're capturing all the air from each vent, and I can stick it in there, take my hands off of it, and just have it be the same on every vent. My plan was to measure all 8 vents with just the middle AC on, measure all 8 vents with all 3 ACs on before installing anything to get a baseline. So those are the numbers you'll see. We'll have all these numbers and readings posted in our blog, so be sure to go there if you want to see the actual spreadsheets. We actually ended up taking 2 baselines. Right. One with just the middle AC, and then one with all 3 ACs. Because I think Grand Design is installing these in a lot of their new RVs, but they're only doing it on the middle AC. So we kind of wanted to get a feel for what kind of performance we would get out of just that versus all 3. Yeah, but we're not completely sure which models and what they're doing with the RV AirFlow. Just check and find out. Yeah, if you're having a system built, check with your dealer and see if they're putting those in or not. So we did that, we got all of our baselines, and then I installed it, and then I ran another test with just the middle AC. I took our anemometer that I've had for a while just because I like to test things. You might have seen this when we put little vent nubbies in our AC. A little bit of Gorilla Tape here, and some insulation around the sides so it fits in there nice and snug. And this should give us pretty good accurate measurements. Kitchen port 1.17. And we immediately noticed we have a way too big of a number. We had 148%, almost 149% increase. And the reason is because our little divider had fallen over. We were starting from a deficiency versus a normal system. This goes back to earlier when I said make sure you run your AC maintenance protocol at least every year, if not maybe twice a year, because ours has been a year and we clearly needed to make some adjustments out there. Yeah, and you know, all you have to do to be able to see if that's falling over or not is just pull your filters out, and you can see right into the low side, and if it's tipped over, push it back over. I thought ours had plenty of force in there to keep it in place, but over the course of a year, all the pressure in that high side of the plenum just pushed it over. So 148% increase from where we started though. That's pretty freaking cool, even though a lot of that can be attributed to the thing. So our numbers were skewed right off the bat. So what I did was I took 2 more sets of measurements with the front AC by itself and the rear AC by itself and measured just those vents, got new baselines for those and new measurements. And for the front AC, we came up with a performance improvement of 39%. And for the rear AC, we had 56%. You sum all the numbers together and you get the difference of 45% overall between the 2 front and rear ACs, because that's right on par with what they're saying of 40% on average. They're not saying up to 40% in an ideal situation. They're saying out of the tests they've done, 40% is the average, which is really pretty cool. So the numbers are super, super impressive, but what about real world applicability? It's getting chilly, so we weren't able to really get a feel for the ACs. However, because our middle AC is also a heat pump, it's the same airflow whether you're talking about heating or cooling. Now, under pre-RV airflow circumstances, whenever the temperature would get into the 40s, the furnace would kick in. The way our system is designed is the heat pump is on, and if the temperature differential gets too big between the set temperature and the measured temperature, the system knows that the heat pump is not keeping up and kicks on the furnace. Now though, it didn't come on at all in the 40s. And it wasn't until it got into the 30s that it had to use the supplemental heat of the furnace. So we can immediately see that we're getting a bit of an increase in our heatability using the RV airflow system.
Which I really like.
So we're super stoked about the numbers that we're getting here, as well as the real world benefits we're seeing already from this thing.
Definitely. If you guys want to check this out for yourselves, don't forget that we have a 10% discount code in the description below, and it will be in the blog post too.
As well as, of course, all the numbers and all the measurements. If you're curious about the measurements and the math that I use, be sure to check that out. Shower plate, which I guess that's what this thing is called.
Hey babe.
Yeah.
How long is that going to be?
The whole thing?
Well, how much longer do you have? I'm hungry.
Probably, I don't know. I've never done it before. Maybe half an hour to an hour. You know, when you film stuff,
hey
it
guys,
takes.
Here's my hand. You can see me.
Here,
it's lunchtime.
Here, hold on.
It's lunchtime. I'm hungry. Well, you know how it is. You live in an RV and it's a very small space, and all I want to do is make a little lunch.
And I'm following it up with projects.
But I'm sure he wants lunch too, so we're going to take a
hungry.
break. I'm going to make you take a break
Yeah, I don't mind breaks.
with food.
As long as we're taking a lunch break, we might as well throw in some Daisy, because people like Daisy. So you might notice her face looks a little odd because I trimmed it recently, and I made her little whiskers a little too short, so she's got a pointy nose.
Puppy dog.
You look less like a teddy bear and more like a dog now.
She's still the cutest puppy ever.
By an average of 40%.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. That's spoiler alert. One more time.
Your RV's airflow by an average of 40%.
Spoiler alert. I can't say it. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
I can't say
Spoiler.
Spoiler alert.
They're easier to get out on the ceiling. Taking these out because they're noisy.
That's right. I don't like it.
Loud noises.
You know, all I could think about when he was doing that was the nearest exit may be behind you. Average of 40%.
Spoiler alert, it is.
See, you didn't even really say it right.
It's easier when you're not in the moment.
That's what I'm telling you. We need to figure something else out.
Okay.
Although it may look like a regular floam. Are we boring you?